What's up everyone? In my last video, which you can check out here, I thoroughly reviewed the exterior and drivetrain of this 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe. In today's video, we continue with part 2 of the review, where I go in detail about the Jeep's shockingly premium interior and quite impressive technology features. Keep watching to check these out and to see some cool Easter eggs that Jeep included on the inside. While you're watching, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. On the door, we have an accented color handle, we have lock-unlock buttons, and we have a power mirror button as well. We have a nice grab handle here, which is wrapped in some sort of fake leather. And we have this stitching, which is called Mayan gold stitching. And you'll actually see that present in the rest of the car. We have a little cargo netting here that you could just store stuff, maybe like, a water bottle, or like a small water bottle, nothing too heavy, I think, or maybe like your phone or something like that. Looking in here, we can see the driver's side of the interior cockpit. This particular Jeep doesn't have any sill plates, but you can get optional plastic door sill plates for $125 or stainless steel door sill plates for $195. The Sahara 4xe comes standard with a cloth interior called Sill Cloth in black with Mayan gold accent stitching, which can be seen on the door grab handles, the premium wrapped steering wheel, parts of the dash, the four-wheel drive selector boot, the gear selector boot, the center console armrest, and of course the seats, which have the Sahara name stitched onto the backrest. The dash is wrapped in grey fabric with the Mayan gold stitching, as well as black polyurethane with grey stitching and the black accent pieces. You can also see bronze and chrome accent pieces by the vents. So one thing you will note is that these seats are actually manually adjustable. This lever here adjusts the height, this one adjusts the lower back portion over here, and then this adjusts the angle of the seat back itself. For an extra $19.95, the interior can be optioned with black McKinley trimmed leather power seats. This includes 8-way power adjustable passenger and driver seats, hard seat back, leather wrapped parking brake and shift knob, as well as 4-way power lumbar adjustable passenger and driver seats. For $2,000, I think that's a lot of stuff that I don't particularly think we need. I'm honestly not a fan of leather. It's expensive to maintain and it feels very cold when it's cold and very hot when it's hot. And if you don't have any sort of active cooling, then that's gonna suck during the summer. And then the other part of it is you just have to maintain leather by the conditioning and cleaning. The cloth seats, you don't have to do all of that stuff. And I find they feel just as good enough. The glove box is located right here. It's a kind of small glove box, so you could probably fit a couple things in there, but not too much. You have a nice grab handle here. We have a grab handle there as well. And likewise, we have another one here. Okay, now you can see this is the removable hardtop here. As you can see, it has no sort of headliner, but you can get an optional headliner for $625. Which I guess would probably help with some of the sound deadening. Jeep actually has put more sound deadening in this than previous models, but it still makes a ton of noise when you're driving on your road. One of the new additions to this year is that we actually have, you can see it, we have airbags on the roll bars themselves. So you have one here, you have one there, and on the other side as well. In terms of sound system, this specific model comes with a 6-speaker sound system, so tweeters here and there, 2 speakers down there, one there, and then one here, and then we have speakers up here as well. Now it can actually be optioned with an Alpine branded system, which comes with 8 speakers plus a subwoofer. That would probably be sounding really good. Because honestly, when you're driving here and you're trying to listen to music, the wind noise and the road noise actually takes up quite a bit of that volume space. You might notice also that we have no antenna, no typical Jeep antenna. In this case, Jeep has actually integrated the antenna into the windscreen. And there we can see a little silhouette of a Willys Jeep once again. Alright, so one of the best fun things of a Jeep is basically that you could strip it down. You remove the headliner, the windows, the doors, and basically drive topless. We're not going to do all that right now. I'm just going to show you how you can remove this piece of the headliner. So we have these 4 latches here that needs to be unlatched. Very simple to do. And the last one is this. Then you just pop it all the way out. And there you go. This is a really nice option if you just want to get a little bit of, you know, sunlight and breeze when you're driving, but you don't want to have to take out everything else. I guess you just have to store this in the back seat or in the trunk space there. So for this back, you have this alignment pin here, so try to align that. Once that's good, you can clip this back in, then this one, and that one, and then we're safe and secure back again. So we're going to start it up. This has a push to start button, so you put your foot on the brakes and then you just push to start, and then that's it. You see a nice display here. It says Sahara as it came up. So sometimes your startup might be very quiet because if you have enough charge in your electric battery, you would have an electric startup. And then as you start driving, then you start to get the engine. In this case, I don't have any charge in my electric battery because I haven't charged it up. As you can see there, it says less than 1%. So we had a typical type startup. Now this is the view from the driver's seat. This is with the phone, you know, similar to where my head is right now. And you have a really nice commanding view. You sit high up, and the way they've designed these Jeeps is that you have a really good view going all the way around. Okay, so now look at the steering wheel. You can see it's a typical three-spoke type steering wheel. I think the steering wheel size is really optimal. I can get my hand around it, gripped properly well. Yes, there's a slight little indentation here and here, so that you can grip your thumb. You can put your thumb and grip it, which is helpful when you're driving. Yeah, this directional pad here controls the info screen, and you can switch between different menus. We have your speedo, vehicle info. So moving up and down switches between these different options, but then as you go left and right, you can select different menus, different sub-menus. So here we look at oil pressure, oil life, battery voltage, tire pressure, coolant temperature, transmission temperature, oil temperature, and oil pressure. Then you can continue going down. One thing to note, as you just saw this, the tachometer needle just dropped down to 0, and you see the word ready. This means that right now, the battery has enough charge in it for me to pull off and start driving on solely electric power alone. Here we have an off-road view, which gives you steering angles. So you can see as I'm turning the steering wheel, the angle reading there is changing. We can also see pitch and roll. Then if you go down, you have the driver assist, adaptive cruise control. Your fuel economy here, this talks about what your current economy is, what your expected range is, things like that. And then more information about your hybrid information, trip information, and then audio. Any warning messages or stuff will come up, and then screen setup, and then all your backup again. So look at the center console. We have 2 nice cup holders here. We have a proper traditional handbrake, which is something I like to see compared to nowadays where you have these electronic handbrakes. We have the gear shift selector and the 4-wheel drive selector. This is an 8-speed automatic. All the hybrids come with this 8-speed automatic, which is a little bit, unfortunate because you can get other Jeeps with a manual transmission, which I particularly like. Though I would say that driving this automatic so far, I haven't had any particular issues. I like that we have this nice silhouette of the Willys MB Jeep. And at the back here, you have a nice, strong looking unlock button here for when shifting. So you have a couple different drive options. Most common that's used is the two-wheel drive, which is 2H. That's for just normal street driving and highway driving. We can switch to 4 auto. Hold the brake down, just shift down, and you switch to 4 auto, and then you see, and you can see here it says 4H auto. This is now sending power to the front wheel drive, to the front wheels as well. Before on 2H, obviously we're sending power to the back wheels. We can then switch to 4H part-time by pushing it to the right. And in this mode, the front and the rear wheels rotate at the same speed. And you can see now here, it says 4H part-time. We can then go to neutral. Neutral is when you're being towed behind another vehicle. So that just switch it to neutral, and you see the neutral sign comes up. And now to shift into follow, you put this into neutral, you pull this all the way down, and we're in follow. Now in follow, there's one interesting button here. So when you select this button here, this allows you to stay in follow, and you can select a speed. Press that button again, press that button, then you can use the shifter here, select a speed, and you can see there's a little counter here that's increasing or decreasing. So this allows you to not have to really control the throttle, and you can focus on controlling the brake, or even just like for hill descent control, you can just set the speed and you just have to focus on your steering. You don't even focus on throttle control or brake control. This is a helpful option for if you're going through a difficult part of the trail. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the button layout here. I am really happy that Jeep stuck with having buttons. You can actually still control a lot of these stuff through the touch screen here. We'll go into that just now. But let's talk about these buttons. These buttons are nice and beefy. They have this rubber surround on them, which means you can control them with a gloves on, even if your hands are wet or muddy. So here we have a volume button, fan button, and button to tune your radio. We have buttons here for, this is heated steering wheel, we have heated seats, 3 different levels. This option has dual zone or climate control, so for passenger and for driver. You have traction control off, you have a mute button, you have your hazard lights, and turn off the screen if you want as well. AC, recirculation. This was the speed control on follow that I was mentioning just now. And this button is an interesting button here. This button is called Max Regen. So while you're driving on a normal basis, there's some amount of regeneration that happens when you're braking. What that means is that energy is pulled from the deceleration vehicle to charge the battery pack at the back. When this is on, however, it's called max regeneration, so that regeneration process is a lot more aggressive. So it actually produces a stronger braking force on its own, and if you drive properly, you might not even actually have to brake at all, or even too much, except when you really want to come to a total standstill. So that's a nice option to have. This recharges your battery as you're driving. Down here we have 12 volts DC, cigarette lighter. These are your controls for your windows, and here we can take in USB-C, normal USB and auxiliary, which we can use here. This touchscreen display is standard. This is called the Uconnect 5. It's a 12.3-inch touchscreen display. It comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay integrated. It is actually surprisingly very responsive. It's very tactile. It responds to all my touches very easily, very quickly. I haven't had any issues with it lagging or sticking as yet. You can actually option the same system, but with additional navigation built into it. But if you go through here, we have the home, and it tells you, your roll and your pitch. It actually gives you information on your charging status. We go to media, you can select different sources: Sirius XM, FM radio, Bluetooth, USB auxiliary. Comfort allows you to adjust the AC without actually having to use the buttons, as I mentioned before. So you can control heat, steering wheel heat as well, the different heating modes, and the temperature, fan speed, reset. So you can actually, everything you can do here, you can actually do here. Phone is for if we're connecting with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Vehicle is interesting because vehicle here gives you now a view of how the this one gives a view of how the hybrid system is working, your driving history. This schedule can be used for when next you need to get charged, things like that.
And of course, eSave, which we spoke about in the previous video.
If a dashboard is off-road pages here. So this is very similar to the view that we were seeing just now in the display screen, where we can see the off-road variables, so like steering angle. If we go into for high, you can see that there. Same thing for part-time. Now the transfer case is locked, so that means that both wheels going to be traveling at the same speed. If we go down to that's neutral, and we can go down to too low as well. We can see all the different accessory gauges here: coolant temperature, temperature, pressure, and then your roll and pitch. So this is a really nice view for when you're off-roading and you want to keep track of what some of these variables are. And then lastly, we have different apps that you can use with the Sahara system itself. You can also use this to get directly to certain functions that you might want. And that's the infotainment system here. This is your SOS and assist button if you were to get into any sort of accident. And then this one actually comes with universal garage door opener with 3 different garage doors that you can open. So now let's look at the back seat here. So the battery is actually stored under the back seat. So if you lift this up, you actually see the electric battery right here. Now, because of the electric battery is right there, it means you have a little bit tighter seating conditions than in the regular Wrangler or the regular Wrangler Sahara. So if you look at the specs, it's like, your distance here is a little bit less and your headroom is a little bit less. Okay, so to give you an idea of how much space a person sitting in back would have, I'm around 6 feet tall. I have adjusted this front seat to a position which is comfortable for me to sit at the front. And when I sit here, I still actually have some amount of space. It's not terribly uncomfortable, but I could definitely see on a long drive this kind of is gonna get cramped after a little while. You can see here we have soft seat backs with a little pocket you can put things in. We do have window switches over here for the rear windows, in addition to USB ports, USB-C and regular USB as well. And I think those are 2 nice options. These are nice options that the passengers in the backseat can actually control and have access to that. We also have a 115 volt 3-prong plug which you can use to power your laptop or charge something. These back seats can also flip down, so we can raise this here. We pull this button here, drop that, pull it again, and drop this down. If you don't have any passenger sitting in the middle, you can actually pull down and you have a nice armrest with now 2 other cup holders as well. So all in all, we actually just have 4 cup holders in the car, which some people might consider that to be a downside. It might be okay, depends on how long of a trip and how many people are going with you. Okay, so let's talk about the trunk space here. You have pretty good decent trunk space. It comes with these nice tie downs, so it means you can put things in here and then strap them down. We also have a 12-volt port here as well. Inside here, we actually have the charging cable, and the charging cable comes in this really nice bag. I'm very impressed that they actually took the effort to put the charging cable in a bag like this. As you can tell, I haven't charged anything yet. This is still brand new, hasn't even been touched. Underneath the charging bag actually has a couple of accessories that came with the truck itself. Inside here, we can see we have a license plate holder, but that isn't needed. We have the Jeep toolkit, which is what you would use to remove the hardtop and the doors and the tailgate and everything. So that's in here as well. I can see the bag has a nice 4xe sign here. Over here is where actually jack is stored. So you pull that, and then you get to take off this panel. Then we have the jack right here, and the jack wrench and everything right here. Again, it came packaged so well, so nicely. I'm so impressed with that. To take out the jack, you just twist this to lower the jack slightly. There you go. Twist that to lower the jack slightly. You can pull the jack out. And then we have the tools to actually use to jack up the car with. It came in this nice leather looking case. Very well protected, I would say. I'm very impressed with that. Very, very impressed with that. Put the jack back in. And jack it back up a little bit to hold it in place there. Just slide this piece here back in. Lock it in like that.
One interesting point to note here is the roll cage. As you can see, it is painted to match the body color, and while it appears to take up a lot of headroom, Jeep has cleverly designed it so that it actually does not get in the way of the drivers or passengers' heads.
Interior lighting, we have LED interior lighting throughout, so we see we have 2 roof lights here with additional roof light here, and then also in the back here, and all of these are LED.
All in all, I'm quite impressed with the interior design. The materials are made of high quality, giving it a premium feel but still maintaining the off-road rugged heritage that Jeep is known for. The contrasting colors, accent stitching, and accent pieces were tastefully designed to give the interior a handsome but not over-the-top visual appeal. The technology features such as a super responsive Uconnect 5 infotainment system, digital gauges, off-road monitoring system, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay show that Jeep is committed to keeping up to date with the latest technology offerings and appealing to the new generation of tech-savvy consumers. But at the same time, choosing to keep features like the manual 4-wheel drive selector and manual handbrake shows that Jeep is still keeping true to its tried and tested legacy of off-roading prowess. This concludes part 2 of the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe review. In the next and final video, we'll go for a test drive. I'll talk about one of the main issues plaguing these 4xe Jeeps, and I'll give my final recommendation on whether you should buy this Jeep or not. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it.